Welcome back to another episode of the Big E Show. We are stoked today. We have an Olympian in the building. We have a silver medalist in the building. He's wearing his silver medal.
Yep.
I made him wear it. I made him bring it as well.
Yes.
But Kenneth Rooks is here today. He is a recent silver medalist from the Paris Olympics. He won in the steeplechase. Pretty incredible race. We're going to jump into how you got there, what it was like. You're also a national champion.
Yeah.
And you are a current BYU senior.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I want to touch on that first point, first of all, because I would never go to school if I won a silver medalist. If I won a silver medal, I'm a bad student, I guess. You're studying civil engineering.
Yes.
And you got an Olympic medal a couple months ago, and here you are back in school. Is that kind of weird? Like,
yeah, it is a little bit weird at times. I
Yeah.
mean, I one of my goals coming into college is I wanted to finish my degree in civil engineering,
Sure.
and this is my 5th year
yeah,
in that degree, and I don't like to give up, so I'm
Yeah.
sticking with it. It's been hard to kind of balance some of the Olympic things
yeah,
with the school things and also the professional running things.
right.
But I'm actually doing pretty good. My wife's been helping me out as well, helping me balance that. But usually there's somebody every day at school who stops and tells me congrats.
Yeah,
Just while I'm
different.
passing, takes
Yeah.
a picture with me or whatever. I don't know, because you were on the basketball team at BYU. I don't know what kind of attention you guys get or whatever.
Oh,
but-
maybe I didn't go to class enough.
Okay.
So yeah, I was running into people. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think it's cool. It's cool being on a sports team and experiencing that. I think that balance, honestly, is as hard as it is while you're still in it. Because I remember
Yeah.
it being super hard. But yeah, if it makes you feel any better, you're 5 years in. Let's see when I graduated. I'm 11 years in. I haven't finished. So
Okay.
maybe we could walk together.
Maybe we could walk together.
I think you'll actually beat me. I finished. I left early to go play professionally, and I'd only done 2 full years of school, and then I've knocked out like another, I don't know, 85% of what was left. But I have like 3 classes left, and they're just the death of me. They're so hard for me. to
You have
just-
3 classes left. You're
Yeah.
almost there. You're closer than me, actually.
I am, but
I-
you'll beat me. I'm just a little bit slow, but so what I mean, what's the dream job then? Is it civil engineering and building tracks? Is it like I'm trying to find the perfect hybrid between running and engineering. Is it engineering but you work in a track and so you can run laps whenever you want, like, or is it just going to be run forever and then eventually you'll jump into engineering?
Yeah, well, right now the dream job is professional running.
Sure.
That's what I'm going to be doing for the next 5 or so years, maybe longer if I continue to run well.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly how civil engineering is going to fit into the picture,
right.
but there might be a possibility where I could connect the civil engineering to the track.
Yeah.
Maybe doing that, but I really don't know exactly how that's going to fit into the picture right now. Still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. Have you put a silver medalist on your resume yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Well,
it's on there.
That's going to be a big advantage. I can't imagine there's a lot of engineers out there that have
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You might be the only
mean,
one.
I guess so. I mean, engineering is also a pretty popular degree. Like, I'm a civil engineer. Grant Fisher.
Sure. Yeah.
He won double bronze. He was an engineer. He did electrical and computer and software engineering.
Yeah.
And he actually has been taking like an online master's
Jeez.
program.
Overachiever. Come on, man.
But yeah, and then Connor and Clayton, they're both mechanical engineers. So
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So this is like a real thing. This is a real thing.
Real thing.
A phenomenon.
A phenomenon. There's a lot of distance runners that for some reason go into engineering.
Do you think like, yeah, now I'm like, my brain is kind of spinning. Like, is there some connection between like how your brain is wired? Because your brain is wired differently. If you're like anyone that's an Olympian, high achiever, incredible at their sport. But there's something about, to me, having only ever played team sports my whole life, I don't know. It's like, it's just such a different mentality when you're solo, right? You're on a team, but like your Team USA,
Yeah.
but you're out there alone unless you're the relay. you're kind of out there alone.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, maybe there's some correlation between engineering and the way things are lined up. I have a brother who's an engineer. My dad studied chemical engineering, and so maybe I'll have to, but they weren't runners, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
I've thought about that a little bit. I don't think it's a 100% direct correlation, but I think that my approach to how I run and how I can compete and how I work definitely is a reflection of like my engineering mind a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, equations are very much a part of engineering,
Yeah.
and I like equations because you can put the inputs in, you get the output that you want, and similarly, like putting in the work. Put in the work, eventually the output's going to come out.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, not everybody who does distance running or who is a runner, it falls into engineering. There's all types of minds out there, but it definitely affects the way I do.
Sure.
I think.
You're not walking into the village and every single person that does track is an engineer.
Yeah, no.
That's awesome. Okay, well, as promised, you're wearing the medal.
Yes.
I did ask you to bring it.
Yeah, got the medal.
I've had a couple. Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Let's. No.
see
Don't
it?
even take it off. I just want to feel it.
See it?
I'll get a picture of it. But wow, that's heavy.
It's actually pretty hefty. Yeah.
You want to wear this all the time? You're sure?
I'm fine.
It's a neck workout. How much does this weigh?
It weighs like a little over a pound.
100 pounds.
100 pounds. We'll go with that.
Tell the people 100 pounds.
We'll say it weighs 100 pounds.
Is there some truth behind? Because I saw all these videos that like they were a little bit not crumbly, but like that there was some surface issues with the medals.
Yeah.
Was that a thing?
They
Did they recall the medals?
Well, they have some sort of a coating.
Right.
The medals that had more issues were the bronze medals. They were like tarnishing.
Yeah, the
really
third place people.
really quickly. But the last time I saw Grant, his medals actually looked like they were in pretty good condition.
Okay.
I don't know if it was like something they switched out, or if his medals did better, or if the tarnish just went away.
Yeah.
But my silver medal's been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean, it looks in great shape.
Yeah.
You have your own makeshift box.
yes.
I was surprised to hear that you weren't given like a box to travel around with.
Well,
Just a display case.
Well, I do have a display case to travel around with. Nike gave me one. It's like, I don't know, I could have brought it today.
You can't bring that.
But it's like, I don't know, it's like a foot tall and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a foot and a half wide. It's pretty hefty,
That's
but
hefty.
but it's just for the medal.
Yeah.
They gave that to me after the race, and then the Olympics also give me a Louis Vuitton display case.
Ooh, very nice.
Which is kind of
very fitting
nice.
for Paris.
Yeah, so
This is my
got two
contribution
display
to
cases.
the theme today. By the way, this is
I like it. I like it very much.
I don't have a Team USA. I have a USA basketball select jacket, but it's just not the same thing. I'm an imposter, so I'm just gonna wear this to show my support.
I think it fits well.
Yeah, if I had a medal, man, I would wear that probably to the testing center every time I went to take a test, just to bring me good luck.
Yeah, well, it might bring you good luck. It also might make it hard to take the test.
That's true.
Might have lots of people coming and
That's fair.
being like, "Oh, what is that?"
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Which might be good too. Who knows? All right. Well, also as promised, I have a couple rapid fires, and these are ones that you picked a couple that seemed intriguing. So you had a minute to chew on them.
Yep.
This is one of my favorite ones, and my guest last week, Tony Finau, I think actually changed my mind on what the correct answer to this is. Not that there's a correct answer, but there's a little bit more logical answer.
Okay.
This might be hard for you because you're an engineer. You think in literal and logical ways, right? But if you had to fight, you have a choice: 1 shack-sized chicken or 50 chicken-sized shacks.
I would go for the 50 chicken-sized shacks. That's what I would go for.
Interesting.
Because I feel like the shack-sized chicken would just bite my head off.
Yeah. No, that's very fair. Now I'm starting to think about flip-flopping back because that's where I was.
Because I feel like this beak would probably be as big as my head.
Yeah, that's true. But 50's a lot.
50
what
is
are you
a lot,
going to do?
and shack is strong, and
could
those would be
kick 'em?
strong little guys.
Strong little chicken-sized shack. I guess you could outrun them. You do have.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to fight them.
That's
Fight
true.
or flight, you have a serious
That's
advantage.
true. The shack-sized chicken probably would be able to sprint pretty fast.
It's Shaq though.
Well,
He's a hefty fella.
That's true, but That's true. That's true.
I like your answer. I'll take it. I was kind of on that side. Then Tony said, well, 50's exhausting. You're going to kick 11 of them and then be pretty tired. And one of them bites your ankle or something. Kylie's laughing at us because now she's thinking about it.
I mean, that's
What's
true.
your
If
answer?
they all swarm you, I suppose it could be pretty.
It could be brutal.
They could be pretty brutal. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really thinking.
I am. Chickens are scaredy cats though. Like a big chicken.
But it's Shaq. Oh, a big chicken.
Big chicken. I don't.
You're not scaring this chicken away.
Are you sure?
He's got a lot of confidence, this chicken.
We'll just say it's a rooster, so
It's
that,
a-
so,
yeah, it's
so
a
that it's
rooster.
aggressive.
It's aggressive. Yeah, it's a good answer, and I don't know. I don't know if there's a right answer anymore. I thought Tony had gotten me, but
Well,
obviously
that's
not.
why we keep asking the question.
That's why we keep asking, because eventually we'll get to the bottom of this. Okay, I told you I was going to press you on this one, so I guess really you didn't choose any of these. I just gave you a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah.
This one's real though, because you never know. You go qualify for another Olympics. This time you medal again, and then you go. I mean, you're young. You're 24.
Yeah.
25?
25. Just turned 25 on Monday, actually.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
So thank you.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Okay, 25. So you can medal again at 29, and then again at 30. I mean, you got some time. So they have a movie about Kenneth Rooks.
Yeah.
What would the movie title be? And who's playing you?
Who's playing me? Oh.
Shaq could play you if you wanted.
Well, that'd be interesting to see Shaq hop over those barriers.
Yeah, body type doesn't translate.
But honestly, like if they were to make a movie about me, it probably would be Never Give Up. And the only reason why I say that is because I feel like a lot of the story about like what people ask about me in
Sure.
my life, especially with what's happened like the last 2 years, is in relation to like my races. Like last year I ran, I fell down
In Oregon, yeah.
in Oregon, got up and won, and then I was able to, come a little bit out of nowhere this year to get a silver medal
Yeah,
in the steeplechase. So that might be the title.
that's good.
But
like
I
it.
also, to be honest, I'm not the best with titles.
I
but-
mean, I don't think the movie people are either. You got some bad titles out
Yeah,
there.
and then who would play me? Oh gosh, we got to think of some skinny actor.
No, it doesn't have to be skinny.
Doesn't
I
have to
said
be
I go
skinny actor.
I go with Brad Pitt every week. Everyone who listens to this is like, all right, this guy really thinks
I
there's
mean,
something going.
It would be cool. Tom Cruise.
Ooh.
And Tom Cruise would be. I mean, he runs.
That's
I mean,
a good
in
one.
a different way, but he runs a lot. And
Yeah, he's got kind of an interesting run, doesn't he?
yeah, he does. And he was actually also at he was at the closing ceremony. So I guess I got to see him kind of in person, but
Yeah.
really it was more like 200 meters away. But
Yeah. Tom, what's up?
yeah,
I mean, you got a silver medal hanging around your neck though. You can go say what's up, Tom.
Yeah.
Can't turn you away.
yeah, I could say what's up.
That's a good answer. We'd have to fix his running form a little
Yeah,
bit.
we would.
But it's nothing that Coach Eyestone can't do, right?
Yeah, and he gets to hop over some barriers, some obstacles.
Yeah.
Like he's used to that.
Yeah, he does that in movies. He's his own stuntman, so that's good. All right, this one will be good. This one will probably be your easiest one. And actually, when I put out that you were coming on the show, someone had a question similar to this, so I'll have a follow-up. It's if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
If I had to eat one meal for the rest of my life, what would it be? Oh, it might be like mango curry.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think that it's good because it's good and it has a little bit of vegetables in it and it's got rice. Anyways, it's just good, dude.
Good tasting.
Good tasting.
That's a unique one. I like that. Did you get any good curry in Paris?
Actually, got some good curry down in California at a few races that I went to.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't eat curry in Paris.
Was the food good there? Were you mostly eating like in the village? Like how does that all work? I know at one point some of your friends were, and I can't remember now. Were you with them as well? Like going in altitude training outside of a couple hours from Paris as well. So like it's not as cut and dry and as simple as people my imagination for a long time was,
Yeah.
oh, you get there, you get to the village, it's kind of like this base camp. Everyone is stuck in there. You have all your meals and they shuttle you around, but you're doing your own thing because it's like your prep and you're trying to get your routines in to get ready for this thing. Is that
Yeah.
correct? What was that
Yeah,
like?
yeah, that's correct. There was a little bit more flexibility than I had envisioned as well.
Yeah.
And everyone did a little bit different. Did it differently based off of what they thought was best for their training plan and when they were competing. Like, I'm pretty sure the basketball team was probably in the village the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was competing the second half. Like all of us who were being coached by Coach Istone were competing the second half. So we went to the opening ceremonies, left for a week, went to Switzerland with our wives, which was really fun.
That's so cool. Yeah.
It was beautiful. And we got to be at altitude for a little bit longer to get some extra just altitude training. And I think that was beneficial.
Sure.
And then we went back about 2-3 days before I ran my prelims, the first race I ran before I ran the final. But in terms of like eating food, I mean, we made our own food in Switzerland. I ate the food at the village, which it was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cafeteria food.
Exactly.
And
right.
so it wasn't the greatest, but there was lots of options. And there was lots of food. But we also had the High Performance Center. The U.S. Olympic Committee had the High Performance Center, and they had food there for lunch and dinner. If we wanted to go there and do training, because they had training facilities there and get food too. So
that's pretty cool.
and that was the best food.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah. They don't
Yeah.
mess around with that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Were there other countries that had something like that?
I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
ask around about that. But I do know that there were some people that were like, well, they thought it was cool that we had our own facility to go train at. Everyone else had to kind of share facilities.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And the follow-up question I don't want to forget, because someone out there is listening and they're like, get to the following question. Was someone asked how you balance your diet, fasting and training?
Fasting and training?
Yeah, they wanted to hear about. I didn't know. Are you a big faster, or is this a?
Oh, this is just like, I mean, just being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of
Right.
Latter-day Saints, fasting once a month. I do that, or I try my best to do that. If I'm traveling, I might like. Basically, if I can't fast for some reason on the first Sunday of the month, which is typically when the fast happens, then I'll try and choose another Sunday of the month
Right.
that I'll fast. But if I were to I can't remember. I think that the first Sunday of August was actually right before I raced. So I didn't fast that day because I was racing on Monday. But then I fasted like a few weeks later.
Yeah,
on
that
a
makes sense.
Sunday,
Just
so.
kind of make it work around the
Yeah.
racing schedule.
Yeah, at least I try and do that.
Sure.
I try and get the fast in somehow.
Yeah.
But also be mindful of if I'm racing the next day, then it's not smart for
Yeah.
me to fast.
No,
day before.
that's a tough act to balance. I had a couple teammates, really most of my pro career. I always had one or two, or I'm even thinking 2 seasons ago in the G League, I think I had 3 teammates that were Muslim, and man, fasting for a month.
It's really
While we had
yeah.
we have 3 games a week, and games are at night, and it was pretty cool to see the dedication, the commitment.
Yeah.
That it's was empowering for them, even though physically draining. So yeah, it's a tough balance to strike, but super cool.
Yeah, and it's super cool that they have the faith to be able to do that.
Yeah,
and stay committed to that, even though it's difficult physically for them.
it's hard.
Too.
Yeah,
Really hard.
super hard. Okay, well let's come back to now. You're in school. Do you feel like the hype will never die? You have people coming up to you saying hi. You're wearing your medal to the testing center, and I'm just kidding about that. But you just went. Did you go to the White House, or were you part of that?
Yeah.
I mean, have all those things kind of died down? Is it kind of becoming a little bit okay, I can just breathe and live my normal life, and just I don't know, soak this in and live a life and focus on me and my wife and school for a little bit, or is it still just chaotic?
It's chaotic at times. Like
Yeah.
there's some weeks that feel normal, and then there's some weeks that feel chaotic. Yes, I went to the White House. That was really
How
cool.
was that?
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was also my favorite part about it was that we got to interact with the Paralympians there.
Yeah.
Because the Paralympics happened a few weeks after
Yep,
the
right
Olympics.
after.
But they had all the Olympians and Paralympians,
That's
or
cool.
they invited all of them to the White House. Not everybody came, but
Right.
that was cool to be able to interact with them and be at the White House, meet the president, and just see the history there.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Were you starstruck, whether it's opening ceremonies or White House or after you win your medal? I know you've mentioned in other interviews that, Snoop Dogg was always popping up places. I mean, I didn't know Tom Cruise, like you saw him maybe from a distance, but I mean, that's a big star as well. Was there anyone that I don't know, was like, dang, it's kind of cool. I'm right in the same room as this person.
Well, I don't know if I would use the word starstruck to describe it 100%, but I thought it was cool to like see Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Snoop Dogg it would sometimes randomly pop up. You never know when he was gonna show up.
What does that mean? Like he was just next to the track?
Yeah,
or
he would sometimes be at the High Performance Center. He'd sometimes
so funny.
he'd be at other places anyway. But yeah, he went to the High Performance Center, and he was there one time, and he just decided to like run a 200 for some reason for fun. And he like tweaked his hamstring a little bit,
way.
so then he had to go see the trainers, and the trainers were working on him while
That's
we were
actually
there.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
it was
funny.
pretty funny.
So he's not in the greatest shape to be doing that. I actually I was training one summer, and man, this was such a bummer, but it was also funny because it was a good friend of mine, massage therapist at the gym I work at, was, talking mess about I'm faster than all these young guys, and even though they're pro athletes, I can keep up with that. It was like a sprint day, right, for the football guys, and because I was mostly with football guys and maybe me and one other basketball guy.
Yeah.
And so they're like, all right, come on, let's go. Come out and race. And he did like one sprint and like tore his hammy. Like,
Oh no.
yeah, it was bad. I mean, he
Yeah.
went down like a sack of wheat, and it was like he was laughing, but also was like so mad at himself. So it was, oh man, I felt really, really bad. But
Yeah.
it was one of those guys that it was okay to laugh with. Because
Yes.
luckily he found it
Yes.
funny too.
Yes.
But
yeah.
tough situation. But Snoop Dogg, man, pulling the hammy. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, and tell us, you kind of alluded to this, like the balancing act of, okay, now you're at school. The goal is to, I mean, you are running professionally, continue
Yes.
to run professionally. You're a Nike athlete.
Yeah.
And that's something that you signed back in January.
Yes.
And forewent your last bit
Yeah.
of eligibility.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really understand how this works, and the whole landscape of college athletics is shifting with NIL.
Yes. Yeah.
Is track a part of that? Like, are there track athletes that are getting paid? Can you, like, say you got to the decision that you made, earlier this year, now, right? Is it different? Can you run for Nike but still be a college athlete with NIL? Like, I don't know how it all works, and it seems strange because track has always been a little bit different.
Yeah. I think NIL, there's a little bit of a different scene for like the basketball and the football versus like some of the Olympic sports.
Yeah.
But when I won USA's last year and then went and got 10th at Worlds, I was trying to get a shoe NIL, and that's a possibility. There's a few guys on the BYU cross country and track team right now who have like a shoe NIL deal.
Really?
And they're getting a little bit of money.
Is that outside of Nike or?
I mean,
Because BYU is a Nike school.
BYU is Nike
Yeah.
school. Yeah, it's actually possible to do it outside of Nike.
Interesting.
Because BYU is a Nike school. But
Okay.
the stipulation is that whenever you compete, you need to be in Nike stuff.
Mm.
Whenever you are representing BYU, you need to be in Nike stuff. But outside of that,
Gotcha.
you could represent another brand.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from that aspect, it's weird because it's like you don't see a basketball player at BYU going and getting an Adidas deal and
Yeah.
wearing Adidas all day, every day, except for the games. Is essentially what that's equivalent to, which is kind of weird. Do you see NIL changing any other way for athletes? Like, are there ones that maybe wouldn't have pursued a pro career because as soon as they graduated, they needed to go work and make money? I mean, I mentioned Carmelita Jeter, who I interviewed, who's a gold medalist, and she, she talked about when she came on the podcast, like she needed money, like out of college, and so she was grinding as a pro and making a little bit, but at a certain point, I think she was dealing with some injuries, which all athletes do. You had some foot things and recently a shoulder thing, right? But when you haven't made it, when you're not making money, when you haven't signed with the big guy, she's like she went to the police academy and like actually did all the tests, did it for like 6 or 7 months or something, and it wasn't until she got there or got to the very end and the very last test that someone that was kind of mentoring her through the process was like, you need to give running another chance, like, because I guess she had talked about it enough, and the light in her eyes would beam so brightly whenever she brought it up that these people around her, these cadets were like, no, you have to go give it another shot. But she wasn't going to because she didn't make any money as a pro. She didn't make any in college, and fortunately, she had someone that recognized that love inside of her and pushed her to go try again. And then she wins a gold medal and world championships, which is like incredible.
Yeah,
like
incredible.
She wasn't going to do any of that. Does that change? Does NIL change track and give more people opportunities to pursue, running and track and field after college because they make a little bit in, or do you not see that?
I've seen some people, like I have some teammates who have, like, when they graduated, they just really focused on their social media platform and created a really good social media platform that they were able to make some money with. Yeah. And that would, I think, fall under NIL. A lot of NIL, if you have a good social media platform, then that usually helps.
Sure.
You be able to get sponsorships and such. But in terms of like me, like I signed a pro contract in January. I was blessed to be able to have the success that I did before I signed a contract, where I was able to sign a very stable contract. And so I don't have to worry about money 100% with my particular contract. That's not the case with everybody. Right. Yeah, I mean, I know that like Jared Ward, for example, he started off with a pretty small contract, and he actually was teaching. Yeah. He was an adjunct professor at BYU teaching statistics. Yeah. And that's a grind. But then when success came around, then the stability came around for him. But he's also done some other things, other business things that has like set him up for his life. But I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's just kind of a different game. Yeah, it sounds like
it's a little different. Yeah.
You might not have the boosters or even the brands and the logos coming in and just saying, "Hey, yeah, come run here. I'll give you $100,000." Yeah. Right? You kind of have to go prove it.
Yeah, it's true. And also like with getting like NIL things, with like running, it's not as popular as like a basketball or whatever. So if you want to get deals, you have to go out and advocate for yourself more. Or in my case, I have an agent; he can advocate for me. Sure. As well.
But I mean, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking like, man, that's how the system should be for everyone. Like, I've said this before. I've said it a million times probably. Like, yes, I'm a little bit salty that there wasn't NIL when I was there. It would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun, yeah.
But I also feel, and I think this is going to organically level itself out and become more sustainable. But right now, I mean, I don't mind that in track it's a little bit different. Like, you have to go advocate for yourself. You have to put some effort into your social media because that's where brands get return on investment. And you don't really get the sponsorship, the stability until you prove something, right? Yeah. Whereas like now you see these freshmen in college that are coming in the big money making sports, and they're signing to these ludicrous deals,
Yeah.
and they haven't done anything. And
Yeah.
chances are they won't, because they're 18 years old, and it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to go and really prove yourself and have a ginormous impact like you did in high school.
Mhm.
When you go to college, it's just not the same thing, no matter
Yeah.
what the sport is. So
Yeah.
I do kind of wish the rest of the sports would take some of that from track and field. But
Yeah. Anyways, it's tricky. And it's hard to figure it all out. I mean, it's a new thing. It's a new world.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
I don't
exactly
know.
right.
I don't know everything, and I mean, lots of people don't know everything. But we're trying to do the best we can. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But something else, I guess, to mention, I guess, is that I've done some speaking things, and I've done a commercial,
Yeah.
which has fallen under NIL. So that's nice that I was able to have some opportunities to do
Sure.
that, which didn't require me to do social media stuff, but most of the stuff is like social media is a big impact.
That was since you went pro. You did a commercial.
Actually, before
Who was that with?
it was just with BYU store.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I got paid a little bit for it. Which
How
is nice.
what was your level of acting? Let's see. Like from
was my
me,
level
I'm a
of
0 to Tom Cruise. Like where were you?
Oh man, I mean, I was just they just wanted me to. They had me out there for like 8 hours, and they just were
Oh.
filming me and taking pictures. But it's a cool commercial.
So you didn't have to act. You were
No.
like you were training,
Yeah.
and they were okay.
They were just taking.
Oh dang! I
videos
was
and
hoping it
pictures
was
of me.
kind of like an infomercial with Kenneth
No,
Rooks.
it wasn't. No. Maybe in the future.
Maybe someday.
Yeah,
Yeah, like for a Wheaties commercial or something like that.
maybe.
I like it. Or it'll be Tom Cruise. It doesn't even have to be you. All right, let's talk about kind of leading up to the Olympics and then the big race. But again, referencing Carmelita, I talked to her about you're a solo artist. You're running on your own. You're not part of a team. And she was quick to correct me and say, no, I am. You have a coach. You actually you have teammates, people that you're training with. You have your family and friends, your physical therapist, your masseuse. You have all these things. So it really is a team effort. And all the people see on TV is that moment of, oh my gosh, do you see what Kenneth just did in 8 minutes and 6 seconds, right? But there's no overnight success. It took 4 years to get to that part of it, but it's been maybe not a lifelong pursuit, but a really, really long pursuit. One of those things is that race in Oregon that you talked about.
Yes, yeah.
You've probably talked about a million times.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make you do it one more time.
Okay.
I mean, because it's pretty incredible.
Yes.
You were tell everyone how far behind you were, what had happened, and then your mindset. Like where did it click that you're like, no, I'm getting this thing done.
Yeah. So going into that race last year, the 2023 USA Championships, I had just a few weeks prior won the NCAA championship in the steeplechase, and I had been having a really good year. I'd been running some really fast times. I competed against some of the pro runners in a meet earlier and had done really, really well against some of them. So going in, I had high hopes that I could be one of the top 3, which would give me a spot to run at the World Championships, or maybe even win. And so going in, but at the end of the day, I wanted to be able to appreciate the moment and run to the best of my ability. Coach Icestone, he has told a story about himself, the first Olympic trials he went to when he was a senior in college in 1984. And part of it could have been that he had a really long season and was kind of tired, but in his mind, he felt like he was one of the best U.S. 10K runners, but he kind of let the moment get a little bit bigger than it needed to be.
Sure.
And he wanted to just make sure he took advantage of every moment, and so that was something I was thinking about, was just taking advantage of the moment, running to the best of my ability, and just being happy with the result, knowing that I'd given it everything that I had. So that mindset was going into it. And then 2 laps into the race, I ended up falling. A guy in front of me stumbled a little bit, stuttered before the barrier, and it was enough to just mess me up a little bit, where I just lost track of it and I flipped over. And for those who don't know what the steeplechase is, we didn't give a summary of the steeplechase. It's 3,000 meters, 7.5 laps around the track, and there's 5 barriers. They're like hurdles, but they're not hurdles because they don't actually fall when you hit them. They're like wooden
You
beams.
fall.
Yes, you fall. And then there's a water jump, which is one of those 5 barriers per lap.
Yep.
And so then I was on the ground, and I was sad that I'd fallen down, and like the thoughts came through my mind, like, am I hurt? I'm like, okay, I'm not hurt. I'm fine. Do I step off the track? Do I keep going? But I popped up, and I decided I'm going to keep going. And then a plan popped into my mind, which I'd thought about actually before the race, because I'd fallen a few weeks prior in practice and realized that falling is a reality in
Sure.
the steeplechase.
Yeah.
And so I planned like what I would do if I were to fall. And so that plan popped into my mind, and I just started executing it. So I was probably about 4 seconds behind last place. And in 2 laps, it took me 2 laps to catch last place. And that was my plan, was
My gosh.
to work up gradually. I didn't know exactly how many laps that would take, but to
Right.
work up gradually, but not necessarily expend my energy quickly to try and like
Yeah.
sprint up. But
Middle of the pack, and then you're dead.
yeah, and so I was gradual. I caught up to the pack, and then I just started racing, and I had let go of the expectation of winning or being top 3, and I was just trying to see how many guys I could catch. And as the race kept going along, I just kept realizing, like, okay, I'm in a better position than I thought I was. I had started to move up more and more, and then with a lap to go, I went for it, and thought that I had to fight for that one. I took the lead with like 50 meters left.
Jeez.
But that was incredible. I definitely exceeded what I thought I could do
Yeah.
in that moment. But I'm really happy that I chose to keep going, and that I had a plan that helped me to keep going.
Yeah, no, the plan is crucial. I know you've talked a lot about, I mean, when I've heard your other interviews and when I've talked to runners, and you hear them talk about strategy, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's for a non-runner, it's kind of like strategy, like, what are you talking, like, it's not a whiteboard. You know, for me, my whole career is like, you have a whiteboard, you're guarding this guy, we're going to trap this guy, we're going to run these plays, they're weak at these things. So it's like, yeah, they're obviously is basketball strategy. Running, I kind of, jokingly think like, yeah, just run as fast as you can, right? And that's how you win. But it's very much not the case. I mean, there are a million ways that races can go, and you have to execute in a particular way to be successful. Depending on how you're built and how you've trained your mind. How hard is it though? I mean, I know you ran through it because you had fallen in practice, but how do you execute when like, are you thinking that much? Like, how much thinking is going on versus like, no, I've just visualized it enough, I've pounded into my brain enough times that like it is thinking, but it's more like you're on autopilot and you know exactly what you need to do instinctually.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that I go on autopilot, but I try and visualize the race and go through a certain race scenario in my mind.
Yeah.
So that when I encounter whatever I encounter in the race, like my brain already, like, it can just like remember, oh, do this, oh, do that. But there's a lot that goes into the race because racing hurts. And so you have to deal with like the negative feelings of like, okay, this hurts. Like your body that kind of doesn't want you to keep going.
What hurts in particular?
What hurts in particular?
Lungs?
Sometimes the lungs hurt. Sometimes the legs are burning. And yeah, just sometimes everything hurts. But
Sounds terrible.
but I mean, it hurts more when you
Sure.
get closer to the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just try and focus on getting my mind in a positive place, because like as long as my mind is in the right place, then everything else is a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah.
And I actually went and talked to a sports psychologist. I've had conversations with my coach at iStone, and those things have helped me kind of develop my mindset and focus on the process things, or the things that happen in the race to set me up for success. Like I may have a goal to do something in a race, but I'm more focused on like the things that I need to do,
Right.
like in the moment. And sometimes breaking it up makes it a little bit easier to deal with. Like even just saying like, okay, well, with how I'm feeling right now, I can go one more lap.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds a lot better than saying like, all right, I have 4 more laps to go.
Yeah, at this pace.
Yeah.
Right.
So it just kind of breaks it down, and as long as you're like taking those steps, then eventually it'll put you in a good place. And I love to finish. I love the last part of the race, even though it is probably the most painful.
Yeah.
I love the last lap and a half. Like that's one of my favorite parts. And so if I can get myself into a good position and a good spot, and then that usually then I'm usually able to just follow my instincts and do the rest. But a lot of what happens is instinctual as well, because as much as you try and create a perfect plan, like it almost never happens exactly how you envision it. And so being able to adapt and follow instincts and stay positive when like the obstacles come, then that's really important.
What is staying like? What's the self-talk? What is staying positive?
What's
That's
staying
right. It's just like you're happy, Kenneth. You're happy.
What
Kenneth.
am I happy?
You're happy, Kenneth.
Well, sometimes like I will try and like turn my brain off and focus on just like, okay, just
churn.
just turn the
Yeah.
legs, because sometimes if my mind starts to overthink, like I'll start thinking about the negative things. So my brain is thinking, but it's more of like a simplified thinking. Sometimes there'll be just like little cues that I'll say like, okay, when I get to this point in the race, think this thought, and then when I get there, then I'll think that. And so like so I'll try and think of at some point every lap, okay, relax, we're fine. Or if I start to hurt, sometimes I'll think like, all right, my body's working, I'm exactly where I need to be, I'm doing like exactly what I need to do.
Deflecting, yeah.
Trying to deflect it off into like some sort of a positive way. And I mean, sometimes if like I'm in a good position, I'll try and think about like, okay, starting to get excited, like, and then that can be good too.
That's so cool. You had some. What I wanted to ask was, I lost my train of thought. But
You're good.
What is the difference? Because you look at, we've talked about the high achievers that are there, right? You've gone through a grueling process to be on that very final stage. So you could argue that it's not anyone's game, but like you wouldn't be surprised if most of those guys won, right? Like, like these are very, very good runners. It's getting heavy, huh?
A little bit, actually.
You can take it
No,
off.
it's fine. It's fine. I'm
Let me
good.
wear it. Pass it over. Come on, let's go.
You want to pass?
Yeah,
pass it
well,
over here?
it's like Sam and Frodo.
You wanna see how it feels?
It's like Sam and
Actually,
Frodo.
it's actually not that bad.
No, it feels right. I should have won one of these in my life, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's never too late
Yeah.
if
True.
I find the right thing. But these guys are all very deserving of being on that stage, and you guys have probably put similar hours in, similar training, right? Not exactly the same. It's not cookie cutter, but what is the difference between you and the guy that comes in third? You and the guy that's 4 seconds behind the pack? Like, what is that difference? Is it mindset? Is it nutrition? Is it combination? Like, what do you think is that little tiny thing that gives you the advantage, that makes all the difference in that last stretch that you mentioned is your favorite part?
Yeah, I think it's just my mindset. Part of me is like I love competing, and also like when we get towards the end of the race, like I kind of get into a spot where like I could just like let loose. I could just kind of relax, like, because the rest of the race I am trying to give it everything I have, but also like pace myself.
Yeah, strategizing.
And so, but once we get towards the end of the race, then all of a sudden it's like I can let loose.
Just go.
I can just go, and I love that, and it just allows me to just compete freely, and that's also like when you're getting close to the finish, so it gets exciting. It gets exciting, but
That's
also, I guess. One thing that I failed to mention earlier, I think, about positive thinking. I honestly think the hardest part of the race is before the race. And you mentioned something about like how other competitors and the training that they've put in. And everyone puts in training differently. Like, I respect my competitors a lot. Sometimes like I'll respect my competitors so much that I'll begin to like think like, oh, like where do I fit into this?
Right,
Like all these guys are so amazing. So one thing will try and remind myself is like I belong. I can compete with these guys, and that helps me when I get into that sense of like I belong. Like it helps me to be able to have the confidence to put myself into a position where I can compete with those guys at the end of the race. Like I can like, and even like in the middle of the race or whatever, at
Yeah.
any point in the race. So, but yeah, the hardest part of the race is just, I think, the preparation, in terms of like getting the mindset right, and also just being healthy,
For
trying
sure.
to be healthy, put
Yeah.
in training. But
A little bit of luck to the health part.
yeah, a
too,
little bit of
right?
luck to the health part.
No, I think that's cool. And then that, talking about the actual race
Uh-huh.
that won you this thing. I mean, you had strategy. You and your coach had talked about, hey, if they're starting early, if they start quick,
Yeah.
then don't run any faster than, what was it, 65 or something, and
Yeah,
then
60,
64. Like
65, 64.
stick to our plan. This is what
Yes.
we've done, and you did that.
Yeah.
What was the point in that race that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do this? Was it as you were climbing up? Was it once you then finally took the lead? Or like, I don't know, like a race
Yeah.
like that where you've executed like you wanted
Yeah.
to, but it's still such a big stage, and I know you talked about the energy in that arena was
Yeah.
just insane. Like, what point are you like, oh, this is real?
Yeah, well, the energy in the stadium was awesome. I mean, the stadium was huge, full of like a bunch of amazing fans who were really loud and really excited. It was awesome. But I mean, there was a point probably about halfway through the race where it was like, okay, I am in last. Like, I followed my plan. I didn't go out too fast. Like,
That's crazy
but I
to
am
hear.
in
Like, that's
last.
crazy to say, by the way. I'm in
Yeah.
last. I followed the plan.
I followed the
Right.
plan. Like, am I gonna be able to respond?
Yeah.
Like when things start getting really tough here in like a few laps, and then like the pack actually started to slow down just a little bit, and I was able to start moving up. But once I started moving up, started to be like, okay, I'm moving in the right direction. I'm doing good. And then at some point, with like probably like 3 laps, maybe 2.5 laps left,
Mhm.
I was like next to El Bakali, who was the
Yeah.
guy who won, and and Lemecha Gurma,
Mhm.
who was the world record holder. He was the guy who actually
Fell. Yeah.
and so that also helped me with like 2.5 laps left to go. It was like, okay, these guys are right here. They're also trying. They're trying to win this thing. Like, okay, I'm fine. And so I was just all at that point about trying to make sure I was responding to the moves, because I didn't want to get left behind. I didn't
Yeah.
want to respond too late, have a gap form, and then
Sure.
and so I just slowly started moving up. And with coming into the last lap, I had a spot on the outside, which was good. It allowed me to keep moving up. But I went in. I wanted to be able to just run as hard as I could that last lap, regardless of what position I was in. But I realized like I was moving up, and no one was really taking off. And so I just decided, well, I got nothing to lose. I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And so I just went and took off. And honestly, like that's a lot of. It wasn't like I was doing anything new or different. I raced that way a lot.
Sure.
But it was a big risk in the sense of like doing it at the Olympics, and also like probably lots of people would say I wasn't really supposed to be in that position, because like I hadn't run as fast as a lot of those guys. But it was just cool to be able to take the lead, and then all of a sudden be like, wow, like I'm leading at the Olympics. Like this is happening. And then I opened up a little bit of a gap, and then I started to think like, am I gonna win?
Yeah.
Like is this actually
That's so
happening?
crazy.
And then like some of the guys, they held off their kick until just a little bit later. Then they started to come up and catch me at the end. But I was probably looking around a little too much. It's not the most efficient way to run, but
Yeah.
I was just so
Glancing over your
I
shoulder.
was just so excited, and because I was looking around so much, I knew when we came out of the last water jump that as long as I stayed on my feet, I was gonna get a medal.
Wow.
And that was a cool moment, for that reality to kind of set in, and like this is actually gonna happen.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, that's late. coming out of the last water.
Well, I mean,
but
I thought that, like, I mean, it started to come together when I took off, but
Sure.
but it became like a reality, when I knew that, like, we'd separated
Yeah.
from the rest
Okay,
of the
then you
pack,
did cross the finish line. There's a legendary picture of you.
Yeah.
Eyes just can't believe. I mean, one, I just won a silver medal. Two, I just set my personal record, obliterating my previous one by 9. Was it 9 seconds?
It was 9 seconds, yeah.
By 9
almost.
seconds. And again, 3, I just won a silver medal. Again, I just won a silver medal. Like, what? From there and then walking on the podium, this is like one of my favorite things to hear from you Olympians is, like, what is that like, getting that medal around your neck? And I don't know, how, like, does it feel real? It's got to be a pretty surreal moment. Like, wow, I just did this.
Yeah, it was a pretty surreal moment. It was cool. It also, we went to the award ceremony the day after, because we were the last event of the night, so we got to go on the award stand the day after. But it was cool. I got to spend a lot of time with Gurma and not Gurma, sorry, El Bakali and Abraham Kibiwat after the race, because we had to wait for our, like, press conference, and then we had to wait for a while for the medal ceremony. But it was really cool being a part of that ceremony. I think the coolest thing for me, though, was that the lady who gave us the medal, she was a Moroccan. And she was an Olympian. She was part of the Olympic Committee, and anyways, she was very, very so proud to give her countryman a gold medal. But she was also very, very, like, gracious and very appreciative in, like, giving her respect to the other two, like me and Abraham as well. And so, anyways, it was really cool to be a part of that moment. But I had already had kind of, like, almost 24 hours of like kind of celebrating. So the excitement was a little bit. There was different excitement when it initially happened versus, like, the next day with getting the medal, which was still really cool. Yeah,
that's pretty incredible. What was your celebratory meal? I mean, what'd you do? Was this late at night? Did you guys go out to a karaoke bar or I mean, how do you celebrate that? Because your family was there, your wife was there.
Yeah,
Did you guys go have some fun?
Yeah, well, I mean, the initial celebration happened, like, when we did the victory lap, and was able to go see my wife and my family, and
which took a second to find.
It took a second to find them. It took me a second to also find the flag. I think, like, I didn't.
Come on, man. The flag people got to be ready.
I mean, the flag people he was there, but people were not expecting me to do very good. I mean, some people did. I mean, my coach coach thought I'd medal. Connor Mance thought I'd medal. I thought that maybe I could medal if I was in good position with a lap to go. But anyway,
we appreciate you coming on the show, giving us some time.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
And thank you for the medal. What's up, everybody? Just want to give a special shout out for this week's episode. Our main sponsor is Rhone. They have the best stuff in the world. I'm obsessed with it. We give it to all of our guests. They love it as well. This week's special guest is Kenneth Rooks. He won a silver medal doing the steeplechase this past summer in Paris, and we're going to go give him some stuff, so follow along. All right, we got the Rhone goodies. Let's go find Kenneth. I think we got the right house. The Olympic rings right here. Knock on the door and get him out here. What's up, man? What's up,
it's good to see you. Welcome.
Got some shorts. Those are good for running, right?
Yeah, they are.
And then we got a nice shirt here too. So
yeah, thank you. Appreciated being on the show. Yeah, it was really fun.
Thanks, Ron. What's up, everybody? This message comes from Rhone, high-performance apparel that moves you. Building mental fitness is vital to everyone's success on or off the court. This was a big thing for me while I was playing. Unfortunately, I feel like it took too long to figure it out, but when I did, there was a huge difference in my play on the court and my life off the court. That's why Rhone has partnered with the NBA, Kevin Love, and the Kevin Love Fund to open up discussion and enable action around mental health. Find out more about how Rhone is getting every head in the game at rhone.com/mental fitness. That's Rhone, RHONE.com/mental fitness, and get your head in the game as well. Rhone, forever forward. What's up, everybody? I just want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. That is Andar Leather Goods. These guys are the best of the best. we're giving one of their bags to each of our first 10 guests here on the Big E Show. And it's been an exciting partnership. I've had one of their bags forever. We bought it as a backpack, turned into a diaper bag, but it just speaks to the versatility of their products. They have bags, backpacks, duffel bags, wallets, phone cases. I mean, anything and everything you can imagine that is leather, and it's the very, very best quality. So make sure you go check them out in my profile. We got a little discount code in there for you. What's up, everybody? Have to give a shout out to our sponsor, Serenoni Blankets. They are the best of the best. We're very excited for this partnership and grateful that they are providing our awesome guests with their amazing blankets. It's starting to get a little bit cold here in Utah where I'm filming, where I'm recording these episodes. And so there's no better time to go check out Serenoni. We're going to have a link in our bio. Make sure you do that because they really are the best of the best.